Hi there, thank you so much again for joining me on this channel. As always, I'm very grateful for all your previous views, likes, subscriptions and shares. It's great to be back and I do hope that you had a good summer. I was really lucky. I was able to watch some movies, watch some TV, read some books, and it's just really nice to be back here. I do confess it has taken me a little while to get back into the swing of things. I spent the first hour or so sorting out the speakers. Then I realised I was missing this foot, which was at the bottom of the PC tower. And then I realised I did a bit of recording. I couldn't remember where I put them. But other than that, it's all good. Crucially, welcome back. Thank you for sticking around. The quality on this channel is variable. But also, I know we've had some new viewers over the summer, and welcome to you as well. It's the start of the academic year. Some of you may have started already, some of you may be about to start, and I just wanted to do something to reflect that. So it's called Resources, Farnyfun's Freebies. I thought it might be fun and hopefully helpful to look at some resources that I've created. And I know it's self-promotion and that feels a bit weird. I think I've managed to square that circle because they're free. All of the resources are available on the Times Educational Supplement website. TES. Now, at this point, if you're a student, you might be thinking, well, hang on a minute, I'm not involved in teaching. I might want to become a teacher. And that's going to be great, but how is this relevant? Well, the TES website is available to anybody to join. You don't have to be a teacher. And those who work in education, they can put up their resources for others to download. Some are free, some you have to pay for. But if you're studying, say, maths at A-level, you can have a look on there and there may be some really great resources for you to help you with your own personal study, your revision and so forth. Now, of course, my passion and enthusiasm is for religious studies, and I've benefited from resources that people have very kindly put on there. So I just wanted to share the ones that I've put up there too. The first movie is The Truman Show from 1998, and it's something I've talked about before on this channel, directed by Peter Weir and starring Jim Carrey as Truman Burbank, a man who is unwittingly the star of his own TV show. Lots of great issues regarding religion and philosophy. I love using it in the classroom. All the movies I will reference in this video come with a timesheet. All that simply is I went through the entire movie and I typed up some core moments and the time that they happened, just to help with planning and giving an overview of what's happening. So the resources for The Truman Show splits the movie into 3 parts. If you have a lesson that's about an hour, okay, you're going to divide it up into 3 parts. But of course, you can decide how you want to divide it up and so forth and etc. You've got that flexibility. You know your youngsters best. Okay, so for each session, for each part, there is a slideshow and there's also a task sheet. You can combine them into booklets or whatever. And it's just some very simple series of questions. One of the key things that comes up in The Truman Show is this idea of Plato's Cave. So there's a reference there to Plato's Cave and you can get the youngsters to think about it and play around with it. Next up is the movie Risen from 2016, directed by Kevin Reynolds, who most famously directed Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and starring Joseph Fiennes as a Roman tribune. That's a commanding officer in the Roman army. And rather than having disciples witness the resurrection of Jesus and being that the core focus of the movie, the core focus is Joseph Fiennes' character. Again, it's split into 3 parts and there's a slideshow and task sheet for each one. What was particularly interesting is where the movie deviates from the book. It's not the first movie to have done this, but as that's something that's quite an important thing to discuss in the RS environment, I made sure that I put in certain extracts from the Gospels, like this one here that you can see. So when you're in your classroom, you can discuss with your students, okay, what's different? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? What are the implications? And just look at and discuss those ideas and how develop those critical thinking skills that are so important in religious studies. I love using Groundhog Day to explore ideas in Buddhism, and the movie focuses on a character called Phil Connors, played by Bill Murray, who ends up living the same day over and over again. The movie, I split it into 2 parts. Okay, and what was quite interesting was looking at those Buddhist ideas and those Buddhist concepts, and the movie really does connect brilliantly to the Buddhist philosophy. Okay, as you can see here, some ideas here on the 5 khandhas. And what I would recommend as well when it comes to thinking about Groundhog Day is perhaps referencing some other films, a strong connection with It's a Wonderful Life, Frank Capra's classic. And also, I think what's particularly interesting as well is how the character of Phil Connors changes so dramatically throughout the movie. It's not just movies. There's a fantastic BBC show called Being from 2021, and it's still available on the BBC iPlayer, but some of you may have recorded it. What it does, it takes 5 faiths in the UK, okay, in alphabetical order. Okay, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Judaism, and Sikhi, and it looks at significant stages in a person's life or rites of passage. So birth, becoming an adult, okay, marriage, and death. And I've just put together some really simple linear task sheets for each episode. As you can see, there's an example on the screen. What I wanted to make sure, and when you download the pack you will see, is that every single key word that appears on the screen, okay, for each episode is either on the sheet as a question or it's perhaps in a side margin in a little box with the definition there. Okay, so it's particularly useful if you're doing some stuff on keywords. So all those keywords are either there as a question or as a little definition on the side. It's a really lovely series. Oh, one thing that is important is that in the episode on Hinduism, when they look at end of life, you do see a dead body. It is done in a very respectful way. It's not gratuitous at all, but I just wanted to highlight that because I felt it was the right thing to do. It's a really lovely moment actually with the family round saying goodbye, and actually that's a thread throughout the entire series. There's a real authenticity. One of the best ways of finding out about a religion is to hear from those who practice it, and also there's a range of views within each of the faith traditions explored. I think that's really helpful too. And finally, you'll be pleased to hear A Believer's Guide to, which is a sort of spiritual sequel to Being. It's also a BBC programme. And what it does is it takes 5 religions, again, in alphabetical order. Okay, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Judaism, and Sikhi. And it takes a slightly different approach. What it does, it takes, for each episode, it looks at a rite of passage in detail. Okay, so for example, for the episode on Islam, it looks at the rituals and the rites and the traditions and the practices involving the arrival of a new life in the world, a baby. Again, with A Believer's Guide, linear task sheet, very straightforward, very simple. All the keywords are there. I just wanted to share with you some of the resources that I use in the classroom. I love teaching religious studies, and I think that the moving image is a great way of communicating some of the ideas and stimulating discussion, debate, and getting everyone enthused, and all sorts of other reasons as well. There are other resources as well. I do a side hustle. I teach a little bit of, you might call it your place of learning, values or personal development or PSHE or PSE, whatever it may be. There's some resources for those subjects you might find useful too. Please be mindful. Sometimes my spelling isn't great and there are typos. I do check, but just be aware of that. Thank you so much for watching. I know that sometimes my screen has gone big and little in terms of the filming, so if that freaked you out, I apologise. But I do wish everyone all the best for that academic year. I genuinely mean that. And as always, if you're able to like, comment and subscribe, please do, and enjoy your learning.